Hey everybody, what's going on? Jimmy Proman here, back again with another awesome video, and in today's video we will cover 20 plus amazing features inside of Samsung One UI. So if you own the Galaxy S10 series, or if you have another Samsung phone that was updated to the Android 9 version, that is what brought you the One UI update. And also, if you are brand new here at the channel of Jimmy Promo and you own a Samsung Galaxy device, don't forget to hit on that subscribe button, as well as the bell for notifications to get notified for future videos. And don't forget about that playlist tab on the very top, so you can check out all the videos I've made so far for the Galaxy S10 Plus, as well as Samsung One UI. The first feature that we'll talk about today will be the single tap as well as double tap, and they're both placed in two different areas inside of settings. So the first one is dealing with the always on display. So if you do a single tap, it'll show you the always on display. If you do a double tap, it'll actually go to the lock screen, so you can either check out your facial recognition, put in your fingerprint, or the PIN or password. Now, to go inside of the phone and turn on both of these settings, you want to pull down the notifications panel, click on the settings icon, and the first one that we'll talk about today is going to be the single tap. Now that one is dealing with the always on display, so you want to go inside of your lock screen right there. And then inside of the lock screen, if you scroll down to where it says the always on display, this is where you can see pretty much how it kind of turns on. So the display mode of always on display, this one right now is set to tap to show, and it'll show it for 10 seconds. You can also have an option to where it's always showing continuously, or you can set it up as a schedule. So if you only want it to show you your always on display, maybe between 7 a.m. and 9 p.m., then that is how you're able to set up the schedule here and then put in your schedule and pretty much go from there. Now, I do like mine to pretty much be a tap to show. So this way at any point in time, I'm one tap away of seeing all the information I want to see without having it to be there the whole entire day. Now, the other setting is that double tap. That's inside of your settings one more time. If you scroll down, you're going to go down to your advanced features. Inside of advanced features, this one is a motion and gesture. Inside of here, you'll see the option for double tap to wake. So it'll turn on the screen when you double tap it. And then also, this is the amazing way of just getting into your phone super fast if you have your facial recognition turned on. Now, the next one that was definitely added inside of the One UI update is the ability of the trash can. So let's say that you go on the very top over here on the top right-hand side. Right now, I just have mine set up inside of albums. And on the very top, you have the option here for trash. Now, any of the images that you go through and you delete, it'll actually sit there for about 15 days, then it'll delete permanently for you. So this is one of those nice ways that if you accidentally delete a image and you want it to come on back, then you're able to kind of, let's say that we go through here, we touch on this one, and we would like it to be restored. You hit on this little restore button, and then now the image is restored back inside of my gallery. So the trash can or the recycling bin is one of those nice little added features that if you accidentally delete an image, it'll be able to come on back. Now, the next way is that it's a way that you're able to lock your home screen layout. So what you want to do is go anywhere on your screen where there is no icon, press and hold. It takes you inside of the settings. Right over here, if you tap on home screen settings, this is where you can lock the home screen layout. Now, this one is actually pretty nice because now it's like, hey, I already have my phone set up. There's a lot of people that also use this, and I don't really want all these icons to kind of move around. So if I press and hold, there's really nothing I can do. Again, if I press and hold, there's really nothing I can do. If I go inside of my application tray, and let's say that I wanted to bring over the weather applications, I can't move it to the home screen because it is locked. So if you accidentally, I don't know, maybe sometimes move a folder or an application around, this is one of those ways to lock it into place because once it's set up, you probably like the way that it is. Now, the next one is going to be the screen rotation icon, also referred to as smart orientation. So what you're able to do is on the very top inside of all of your quick settings, when you go inside of your auto rotate, if you have this one turned off, it's locked into portrait mode. But one of the nice things about it is that there'll be a small icon on the very bottom right-hand side that'll pop up when you rotate the phone. So let's say that we're inside of YouTube. Let's say that I'm just kind of holding on to it. Now, if I was to rotate it, you can see this icon right there. And if I tap it, now it's gonna rotate it for me. So a lot of times you might lay down in bed, you might lay down on the couch, you're rotating your phone, but you don't want it to rotate with what your body is doing. You always want it to be kind of up. Well, this is one of those ways that you are able to change it super quick just by a little small icon touch. So I usually use mine and keep mine in the auto rotate. There's a few times I will turn on, the do not auto rotate feature, and then this way I can just use that small icon on the very bottom right hand side. The next feature that we will cover is another one that's very convenient if you want to unlock your phone without really even touching your screen or your phone buttons or anything like that if you have Face Unlock set up. Now this one is called Lift to Wake. So if you go inside of your settings, you're going to scroll back down where it says the advanced features, and then inside of advanced features, again, go back to motions and gestures, because it is a motion of you lifting your phone. So this one over here is called Lift to Wake. So you can turn on the screen when you pick up your phone. So this one really comes into handy. Let's say that the phone is just kind of sitting off like this, and then the moment that I lift it up and it's pointing at me, it will kind of turn on. But because the facial recognition is so fast, you saw that the phone was already being unlocked. So again, if I lift up the phone, I'm not touching anything, it automatically unlocks. And it really, it's one of those really nice, convenient things that if your phone is lifted up, that means you're probably wanting to use the phone, and facial recognition is so fast that once it's lifted up, it is automatically already unlocked. Now the next one is going to be night mode or dark mode. Night mode was one of those things that a lot of people loved about the Galaxy series along with this One UI update. Even Apple had a big conference talking about dark mode everything, and so that is one of the big things that is new with this one. So inside of your quick settings, you have an option for night mode, which is also referred to as dark mode. So night mode, dark mode, pretty much the same thing. If you can also go inside of the details, and inside of details, you can also have it turned on as a schedule, but I always have it turned on all the time because it's easier on the eyes. The text is super easy to read, and also it does save you a little bit of battery life. So really everything kind of changes if you go inside of your internet browser, if you go inside of the gallery, if you go inside of your phone dialer, if you go inside of text messages, everything will go into that dark mode along with all your different settings. And also too, it really flushes out a camera. So that's kind of why I love night mode and shooting YouTube videos, is that the night mode, the dark mode, does not flush out the camera. It doesn't brighten the screen crazy, and it just makes everything look really good. Now the next thing that you are able to do is the auto optimization inside of your device care or device maintenance. The name of that did update. So if you see one that's called device maintenance, it is now actually device care. Now inside of the device care, this is where you can check out your battery, go through the storage, check out your memory. But one of these things that always pops up is optimize now. A lot of people click on this at least once or twice a day. So you are able to actually have it being done for you. On the very top right hand side, when you click on that little menu button, those three dots, if you go to auto optimization, you can have it done every single day at 2 a.m. or really whenever you want it to. You just want to have it done when you're not using the phone and when the phone is not in use, which is pretty much what it's kind of talking about here. It says your phone will only be optimized if your screen is off and if your phone is not in use. For best results, schedule optimization for a time when you usually don't use your phone, which usually mine is about 2 a.m. Hopefully I'm kind of sleeping by then, and so that's when I have mine set up. So it's a way that you're able to kind of clear everything that's kind of running in the background, optimize the phone, but do it automatically on a schedule. Now the next one is going to be inside of the camera, and this will help you when you pop inside of the camera. If there's always a setting or a shooting mode that you use all the time, it's a way that you're able to kind of keep it staying where it was. So usually what happens is when you open up your camera, it always goes into photo. Now there was a setting that I turned on inside of the settings, and then if you were to scroll on down, you're going to see the option of camera modes. Now inside of camera modes, this is where you can go to this option here, which is keep using last mode. So if we're to have this one turned off and we're to go back inside of here, if I go into video, and then let's say that I get out of the application, I even close it from running in the background, I open up the camera again, and it went away from video and it went back to photo. Now let's go back into settings. We're going to scroll down into the camera modes. Inside of camera mode, let's keep using the last mode. And now as you get out, again, I'm going to close everything down. It's completely closed. Back inside of the camera. Now what we need to do is put it inside of a setting. So let's put it into Pro. So if you've noticed this, when I first opened up the camera, it went inside of Pro. So now when I open up this, it went right back into Pro. So if you're somebody who always uses live focus, Or maybe you just did a live focus and then you got out of the application and then another opportunity comes about. You're like, shoot, I need to take this picture extremely fast. The next moment you open up the camera, live focus is there and ready for you to go without you having to switch the modes. So I really love that fact. It's one of those that's also kind of hidden a little bit while using the last mode inside of the camera. The next one is talking about reducing of animations. And we're not talking about going inside of developer options or anything like that. We're talking about pulling down notifications panel, clicking on the settings icon, and then one more time going back inside of advanced features. And then inside of advanced features, you see this option here called reduce animations. So it'll tone down the motion effects of the screen, such as when apps are opened or closed. So really, we don't really need effects. We don't need animations. We don't need extra time of opening up or closing an application. We don't need it to really look pretty. We just want to get in the app, get out of the app, and that right there will reduce the animations, making it just a little bit quicker. Now, the next big one inside of the One UI was the navigation buttons on the bottom, or all the gestures that you are able to use. So if you go inside of the settings, let's say we go inside the settings on the very top, then we're gonna go down inside of the display, and then underneath display, when you scroll down, you're gonna see your navigation bar. Inside of navigation bar, this is where you can choose if you want your navigation buttons, where you just do a simple tap. You can also set it up if you are right-handed or left-handed. So then this way, if you're using your left hand, your back button is super close to you. Or if you're used to any other, Google products or LG products, the Pixel, things like that. Some of those is the back button is on the left-hand side, but I am a right-handed person. This makes sense to me. Hit the back button with the right hand. Or you can also go inside of your gestures. The gestures is a way that you are able to swipe up. This is still your back, this is still your recents, and this is still your home, but it is using gestures instead of hitting buttons. Now, if you don't want to have these little buttons on the bottom, these are your hints. You are able to turn that off, and this is still your back, home, and recents. Some people like to have it on so they kind of know where it's at, but once you get used to it, you might also find yourself turning it off. Now, I used the gestures for quite a while, probably a good month, maybe 2, but then I went back over into these buttons. I could just kind of find myself just kind of tapping more than doing gestures. And so this is kind of pretty much how I have mine set up, is the back button on the right side along with the navigation buttons. Next up is going to be the ability of having your own videos from your gallery be inside of your lock screen. Now, a fast way of doing that is when you're inside of your album, when you pull down, click on videos. And then inside of videos, this is where you're able to choose really any of these small videos here as your lock screen. Now, when you go and you find your video, you want to hit on the very top right hand side those three little dots, and this is where you go to set as wallpaper. Now this looks goofy. Now the only thing you're able to do here is up to 15 seconds of a video will be shown as the lock screen. So if you need to change where you want it to show, so here is 11 seconds, you can kind of go through and change which portions of the video you would like to be placed there. Now this video was already short, it was already less than 15 seconds, but let's say it was over a minute, then you're able to kind of go through, you can change, it's now saving a video, and then now this one could be saved as your lock screen, and you just want to do set as wallpaper. Now you don't really want to have it set up as your normal lock screen or your wallpaper here, because that'll take more of your battery life. Something that's set up on your lock screen doesn't really take too long, because usually your lock screen will time out after 10 seconds. The next thing that was added inside of One UI is one that not a lot of people talk about, not a lot of people know about, but it's the adoptable storage. So there's really nothing you have to change other than let me just kind of show you, I guess, kind of where some of these things are at. So if you go inside of your device care, and then inside of here, let's say we go inside of storage. Now inside of the storage on the top right hand side, you can go inside of storage analysis. And up here, pretty much what kind of happens is with the One UI update, the Samsung phones, instead of the internal storage being read differently than a micro SD card, what pretty much happens without doing anything to the phone is that One UI reads the micro SD card, which I took out of this phone just recently, but it will read the SD card along with the internal storage as one. So it's adoptable storage. It's as if it adopted that micro SD card inside of the phone, not changing any of the read or write speeds or really anything else, not trying to read it from another source. It's really adopted into the internal storage. So it reads it, even though there was 128 internal and I had another 128 card in here, it kind of reads it all as a symmetrical 256 gig, really. And also inside of this here, it shows off the duplicate files. If there's any of these files that you need to delete, it'll show you your large files. So if you kind of see yourself losing some of your storage, you need to make a little bit more room. The storage analysis, this is kind of a 2-in-1. This was another one I was going to talk about, but this is where you're able to delete large files. So it's just written right here. You can see what you need to get rid of if you need to save yourself a little bit more space. So that was kind of 2-in-1, the adoptable storage along with the analytics of the internal storage itself. So that one was kind of a 2-in-1. That one was the adoptable storage along with the storage analysis. Now the next one is going to be back inside of the camera, and this one is a floating camera option. So this one was probably there from before. Some people might not have known this, might not have noticed it, but I'm going to include it in this video here because it is still part of Samsung One UI. It's still here to go, and it's still an amazing feature. So if you're trying to take a picture, but you're in an awkward situation of trying to hit that shutter button, you can move the shutter button really anywhere else. You can tap that little button. It's gonna take the picture, and then it's gonna be stored inside of your gallery. So now, if you'd like to get rid of it, you just bring it right back over into where the shutter button automatically or already was, and then now you are good to go. The next amazing feature that was definitely refreshed was the recent apps menu. So inside of the recent apps menu, which I'm just going to go through here, open up a few of these. Let's tap on the internet. Let's go over here inside of the Play Store. And then so now when you hit on your recent apps, this is what it'll look like. And this is what it looks like if you're not using Good Lock or anything else like that. You have these little icons on the very top of all of these different applications. Inside of that icon, you have app information. You can open it up in the split screen view, open it up in a pop-up view, so it's a little bit smaller of a screen. You can change the app aspect ratio, and you can also lock the application. Now, a couple of the other things you are able to do is that if you swipe up, it'll get rid of the application, and if you swipe down, it'll bring you back inside of that application. Now, some other things is on the very bottom. These are other recent suggested applications that you are able to use. These are the ones that you probably use quite often, especially lately. So it's just gonna kind of help you use different applications that you would probably already open up. Now, these will change all the time, and also it'll change even if I close down all these applications. Now on the top right hand side, you do have the settings. This is where you have those suggested applications. It'll show those suggested apps in the recent menu, which is what we were talking about from before. So right now it's gonna show DJI, messages, YouTube, and also YouTube Studio. If I was to delete everything, go back inside of recent applications, actually it kind of pretty much stayed because this is what I've been opening up the most in majority of the day to day, using up, storage and memory and battery. So that is pretty much kind of how they fixed up those recent applications on the very bottom. The next feature, which is a slight change, is inside of the always on display. Now inside of the always on display, they have a bunch of different clocks and different styles. And one of the things that they added into the One UI update is the schedule and not just calendar. So if you go inside of here, you go to your lock screen. Then inside of the lock screen, if you go to, you don't have to tap inside of the always on display, you go to clock style. Now inside of the clock style, we're talking about the one inside of the always on display. Now as you go through here, a lot of these will look similar and familiar, but the one that was added is the one that is right next to the calendar. This one is your schedule. This is the way that it's gonna show you your all day thing, all the different stuff that you kind of have set up. And this is really kind of what they show. And you can also change some of the colors. So it's a very small change, a very small update, but it's also one of those that, you would really have to really look hard or know what was already there to see the change. And I just wanted to bring it to light for you. The next feature is part of the recent application refresh. And this is by using the multi-window and how it's kind of changed. Now, the best and easiest way is to have a couple of those applications that you would already like to use in this multi-window function or the split screen function. And you want to click on that little icon on the very top for the first one. So this one is YouTube Music. We're going to open this one up in split view. And then the next application that I'm also going to use is maybe the gallery. So I want to listen to music, but I also want to check out some of the gallery and stuff like that. Now, you are also able to save app pair inside of your edge panels right over here for the app's edge. So if there's something that you would like to use all the time, so maybe maps and music, you are able to create these and already have them pretty much already up and ready to go. But that was one of the other amazing features, is able to use multi-window, but I had to show a little bit of the refresh and how they kind of changed it. The next amazing new or changed feature inside of One UI is going to be inside of the keyboard. Now over here on the right hand side, when you click on the little menu or more options, you'll see this option here for modes. So this was kind of moved and changed from before. So this is where you're able to change if you want your standard keyboard, if you wanted the one-handed keyboard, or if you'd like it to be a little floating keyboard, kind of floating around. You can move it anywhere on the screen that you would like it to go. And if you go back over inside of here, go back to standard, one of the last things you are able to do is going inside of your keyboard size. So in this way, you'd be able to either make it taller or shorter. I like mine kind of the way it was. I moved it up just a little bit because I also added in the number line on the very top, and I wanted to see all the different symbols right next to the letters as well. So this one was already there from before, but they did change where it was located and how you're able to pretty much change all these different modes a little bit more easy and a little bit more simple, because it is being done with just your thumb right inside of the keyboard itself. Now the next one was one that was one of those kind of hidden features that I loved, and I'm going to throw it in because this was new, part of the One UI. So when you go inside of your settings, and then when you scroll on down and you click on apps, now inside of this little apps menu, it's going to show you everything that was installed. You can also see other ones that were system. And as you scroll on down, if you try to see the option for calendar. Now inside of calendar, instead of tapping on calendar and going in through some of those settings, click on the settings icon over here, and then this is where you're able to kind of go through and change all the different settings. And one of the things that I love is this one here. You can show the week numbers. So anybody who has timeshares or anything that they're like, oh, hey, how did sales go for week 16 or something like that? You're able to turn on those week numbers. Let's go inside of my tools. Let's go inside of the calendar, and you can see right over here how I have the week numbers that is on the side, which super cool, right? You can see it right there, week 41, week 40, 39, super fun. I like that little fact. It's a small little change that was added inside of the One UI, and that's really pretty much about it. Now the next one is going to be inside of the gallery and how you're able to change the customization and also the order of how you see everything. So let's say if you scroll or do a little pinch to zoom, you can see a list. Here is the albums. Now they've gotten bigger, and then now I believe that's pretty much all the bigger that they were able to go. But maybe if you wanted to change the order of how these are sitting, so you are also able to do that. So let's say that my downloads, if I press and hold, I can actually move it down over here, and then now it's kind of set up maybe a little bit better for me. Or if you do like to have your downloads a little bit closer to the top, maybe you can make that one the second album that is in place. So now it goes camera, downloads, and screenshots. So moving along and kind of changing all these. This one right here, with the list, this kind of made it a little bit easier for you to see. This is the change, a part of the One UI. So if you wanted to, make a change a little bit easier and faster, this is the way that you're able to do it. So if there's any of these down here, so maybe like my Facebook, I can move up a little bit above the collage. Also, if I tap on multiple of these, I can either group them together or also delete. So it's kind of a different way of managing your gallery, a part of the Samsung One UI. Now, we already talked about the storage analysis earlier in the video, and that was kind of what I was about to hit on right now. And so now the very last one that we will talk about in part of this 20 plus amazing features of Samsung One UI will be the menu on the very top. So some of these has kind of changed with when you tap on not only just the icon, which right here is turning on your flashlight, but what you are able to do, see, this is where that little auto rotate would come in handy. Okay, so this is where you can go inside and click on the clickable text. Now the clickable text is where, if you want to change the brightness of what your flashlight would be anytime you do turn it on, you can change how bright it is. Some of the other things you could do is when you tap on the words here, you can change your Dolby Atmos if you want to auto, movie, music, voice, without having to go inside of the full settings of everything. Night mode is one of those that really doesn't have anything there. Let's see here. You also have airplane mode. I don't think that would really do anything. Let's go inside of vibrate. Vibrate has a lot more features that is kind of quick. You can get into sound, vibrate, mute, and everything else. Then you go inside of the full details of everything. This is what it would normally look like, but you do have the option here to click on the text. Let's see, Bixby routines. That's probably not going to be anything there. Edge lighting, really nothing there, but a lot of these will. So kind of go through here you can kind of see, you know, some of the settings you want to change. So always on display. This is a fast way to turn on tap to show. So if you want to turn on the very first setting I talked about earlier today, this is the one that you're able to do, tap to show, or you can have always show or the schedule. This view here actually shows more than the app itself, because I'd have to actually tap on show a schedule to even see what the time would be. This one shows everything right there, and it's super quick, super fast. So these were the 20 plus amazing features of Samsung One UI. Hope that you guys have maybe learned something, maybe relearned something, maybe re-sparked some interest in changing a few different settings. Other than that, I hope you guys have liked this video. If you guys did, please give this thing a huge thumbs up. Don't forget to hit on subscribe. You can subscribe right over here on the very bottom left-hand side, that little red circle. Share this video with your friends and family and social media sites, and I'll see you guys later.